this was the assessment I gave under word problems involving fractions. I hope you tried your best to see if you could get the answer. The question is, two fractions have the same denominator as 5. The difference between the fractions is 2 over 5. And the result of dividing one of them by the other is 2. What are the fractions? Well, someone said it was a bit confusing, but I'll just show you how we solve it. So the first thing you need to look at in this question is to understand that first of all you're looking for two fractions, and the two fractions actually have the same denominator as 5. So if we say the first fraction is having a numerator as x, that means its denominator will be 5, so x over 5. Then the second fraction, let's say it has its numerator as y, then its denominator will be 5, so it's y over 5. So basically the two fractions x over 5, y over 5, but that's not exactly a number, so we're looking for what x and y is basically. So let's just look at that. So if looking at this first part, because this is the first part of the question, I'll be bringing them one after the other. Two fractions have the same denominator as 5. Remember I said, let's say the numerator of the first fraction is x, and the other one is y. So that means the denominator for both of them will be 5. So that is x over 5, y over 5. But what is x, what is y? Well, that is what we're going to find. And the next point of that question, the difference between the two fractions is 2 over 5. So meaning that the difference between these two fractions, and that we do not know their numerator, is 2 over 5. The interpretation is x over 5 minus y over 5 is equals to 2 over 5. So this is the interpretation for the second point. So I hope you're taking that down. So now the next point they mentioned is the result of dividing one of them by the other is 2. So that means the result of dividing these two by themselves, like dividing one by the other, is actually 2. So if I should put that next point here, it means that x over 5 divided by y over 5 is equals to 2. I have limited space, so I just put it here. So you understand that this is the first point, second point, and the third point. So the first point is the two fractions have the same denominator as 5, so we don't know the numerator, we only know the denominator, so we assume the numerator is x and y. So that is x over 5, y over 5. Now, the difference between the two fractions is 2 over 5, meaning that x over 5 minus y over 5 is 2 over 5. And the third point in the question is if we divide one of the fractions by the other, okay, 2. So that's the third point. So now, what are the fractions? Meaning that we know the denominator, but we don't know the complete fraction since the numerator is unknown. So to find this, we're going to start with the difference and also look at the third points there. So I'm just going to clean this here. So if I bring this up, we have x over 5 minus y over 5 equals to 2 over 5. So let's call this our first equation. So then we're not solving a simultaneous equation. Actually, we're only going to do something related to it. So this one is x over 5 divided by y over 5 equal to 2. So this is the next equation. So let me just clean this off now. So this interpretation is the difference between the two fractions to give us 2 over 5. And if you divide those fractions, we get 2. So let us find the unknown, still having one of them as the unknown. So I think it's easier to start with equation 2 rather than finding LCM and the rest on top there. So if I start with equation 2, that is this one, I'll be having x over 5 times 5 over y equal to 2. So what I'm basically looking for here, I want to find x, but in finding this x, I'll still have the unknown y, which I will put in one of the equations here to get the original value of y or the original value of x. So this will give us if 5 cancel 5 1, so we have an x over y equal to 2. So that means x is equals to 2y, because it will cross multiply, we have 2y there. So x actually is 2y. So we're going to fix this. If we call this equation 3, x equals to 2y, we're going to fix that into equation 1. When we do that, we're going to have only y to look for in that particular equation. So if I put x here, it's going to be something like this. I'm just going to clean this up since I don't have enough space. So if I put x here, we'll have 2y here. So that's just it. So let me just clean this up now. So note that we had, let me just clean it. Note that we had x equals to 2y. So if I put x in equation 1, we'll have 2y over 5 minus y over 5 equals to 2 over 5. So now it's easy for us to find y. And this will be giving us 2y over 5 minus y over 5 is actually y over 5. Because this has the same denominator, so no need to find LCM on the rest. So we have 5 as the denominator, then 2y minus y is y, so that will be equals to 2 over 5. So if we cross multiply, we're having 5y equals to 10. That means if we divide by 5, we get y equals to 2. Since we've gotten y, that means we'll be having the second fraction as 2 over 5. But we need to find also x. So remember that for our equation, that's equation 3. That equation 3, that was we found x equals to 2y. So if we put the value of y here, we're having x equals to 4. That is x equals to 2 times 2, and that is 4. So we're having the fractions as, let me just put it here, I don't want to clean yet. So that means we're having, since the fractions we say they were x over 5 and y over 5, now we found x to be 4, so we're having it as 4 over 5 and y to 2 over 5. So those are the two fractions. But let me just give a little review of everything I saw so that you see it clearly. So we started this way. We said there are two fractions that we want to know about, but their denominators are 5, so we had x over 5, y over 5. Then we said that the first equation was the difference between the two to give us 2 over 5. Then the second equation was to divide one by the other to give us 2. And we used equation 2 first, and we found x to be 2y. We now found that as equation 3. So finding x to be 2y, we'll put x equals to 2y in equation 1, and we found that y is equal to 2. So putting y in this equation 3, we found that x is equals to 4. That's just it, basically. The point is that we just need to understand the question and interpret it accordingly for us to get or to arrive at the answer. So you see the way I broke it down a little bit. You notice I don't have much space, so I have to do a little review so that in case you didn't understand exactly as I was solving it, this is the process. We start from here to here, 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 and here. So we have the final answer as 4 4 over 5 and 2 over 5. So this is our answer. There are still other questions that are more complex than this involving fractions, but I'd like you to do much more practice so that you'll be able to get used to solving issues related to fractions. If you like me to solve my examples, you can still tell me. I'll solve my examples. But in my next video, we'll be looking at decimals and approximations. So, thank you very much.